item they wish.
Madam Mayor, if I may take an opportunity also.
Just for clarification, there is a section in the code that says council members can speak before we open up for good and welfare, so.
Just to provide a recap, 2 weeks ago, Bowman & Company, the new township auditor for the Township of Teaneck, published its report of audit for the year 2014, in which they, quote, identified certain deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses and significant deficiencies. Every member of the Township Council, this administration, and the public should be concerned about these findings. The issues that the auditor raises are serious. There were 8 separate violations regarding failure to comply with local public contracts law, including a purchase above $36,000 that was not competitively bid, and 3 contracts over $17,500 that were not advertised and did not receive council approval as required. There were 17 employees who were paid more than the $5,000 allowed by law in exchange for declining health insurance benefits. 5 pension remittances were made late, resulting in penalties assessed to the township of more than $10,000. More critically, the order identified material weakness in the township's procedures for payment of claims, resulting in a situation where, as the auditor describes it, misappropriation of assets could have occurred and may not have been detected. These flaws in the way Teaneck does business as usual have already cost our township. It is each and every resident that pays the price for this. These issues are not merely the usual poor decisions that we make, such as overspending by $1 million for the old police building, or planning and starting to take steps to spend $1 million for bathrooms in Votee Park. We need to have a township council that will be asking how these problems occurred and what changes will be made in policies and personnel to fix these fundamental issues. The report is available online on the township website. I encourage everyone to look at it and to review it. Our job as a council is to ask questions, set policy, and provide oversight. President Harry S. Truman had a sign on his desk that said, "The buck stops here." And we need to start taking responsibility, and we need to be identifying these issues, resolving them, making appropriate decisions and effective decisions so that we expend the resources of the public. The $70 million that we spend in our budget annually, that we spend that effectively and appropriately. And I hope that we can have every resident have an opportunity to look at this report. The auditor will be here at the next meeting and hear these issues and hear how we will be solving these problems on your behalf.
Thank you, Councilman Sohn. Yes, the council received an audit 2 weeks ago, and we have the auditor coming in on August 12th to address us about the recommendations that were made. I actually had an opportunity to speak with the auditor as well as the manager, and a corrective action plan is already currently being put in place. And I look forward to the manager presenting that corrective action plan at that time to address those issues. Council is aware that there were some areas in need of improvement, and corrective action has already been taken in some areas. We have not had an opportunity to discuss this. We will be discussing it at our August 11th meeting, and I invite all of you to come along as we collectively as a team come up with recommendations, solutions on how to improve these areas.
You know, I sat here for 3 years, and I'll be here at least one more year. And I want to sit on a council that does things in a way that make the most sense. Next time we meet will be devoted to concerns about the audit. And this auditor was much more thorough than the last auditor, so he came up with some additional things. I'm not personally attacking Mr. Sohn, but I think there was an inappropriate time to begin talking about the audit. We're going to spend the whole meeting pretty much in August talking about that. The report is available. People can get it. They can raise questions. We're not trying to hide anything, but we got to stop beating ourselves up.
not speaking, as Howard Rose always says, as school board member. I'm not speaking as a state senator, but rather as a resident of Teaneck. A couple of issues. Last is the audit. You know, we're talking a lot about getting along, and getting along does not mean that each of you should not question what is going on in this community. I read that audit online, and the fact that you're even waiting a month to discuss it, I think is inappropriate. I read one line on there. We taxpayers paid $10,000 in fines because we were late with pension payments. That's like the ordinary business of a community. The fact that 17 employees are being paid over, it was unspecified how much over, the $5,000 that the law allows. So questioning that audit is your responsibility and is our responsibility as citizens of Teaneck. So I want to point out that I hope that you are all respectful to one another. But being respectful does not mean, never means, that you shouldn't question what is going on in this community and why are our business practices so bad. Just the idea that we paid $10,000 in fines, I see the...
If you had said you were speaking as senator, I'd let you go. Would you like another 3 minutes?
Chuck Powers, I want to talk in a combined way about obeying the rules and the how you sequence activity and what it is that we get to know about what you're doing. We do know that we have a process of fiscal management in this town, that when I ask a very senior former official in the Comptroller's Office of New York to read through the findings of our audit, he started reading and he started shaking his head and he said, what is going to happen to your bond rating? There is real concern. You can't violate the rules as consistently as apparently whoever it is that's making those decisions. Maybe it's our procurement officer, maybe it is the CFO. We know who those people report to. It is very important that you not just walk away from the seriousness of an audit report that for the first time in this township's history talks about material variances and inconsistencies in the fiscal management, and in such a way that they say we can't actually connect the dots. We're not sure whether or not we've gotten hold of it or not. Partly that's because you only gave the auditor 2 months to do that work. For heaven's sakes, get a complete analysis. We need a forensic analysis of that audit. It is very serious business. We're going to lose the credibility that we've had as a township unless we do something dramatic and really soon. And it's not by just sort of walking away and say, well, we'll deal with that next month. And oh yeah, let's go ahead and raise the level from $36,000 to $40,000 in terms of what it is that we can do without going through the proper procedures. Let's not go ahead and take additional action where we are committing ourselves in the absence of knowing whether or not what we do can be done legally. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Rasheen?